You know that feeling, right?
Mia, that specific feeling, the one we all dread.
Yes, when you open your mouth to say something really simple in English.
And suddenly, your mind is demanding a full grammar check.
Exactly. You freeze because you're trying to remember the difference between the past simple and the present perfect continuous.
And the person you're talking to is just standing there, waiting for you to finish your sentence.
The moment is gone and the confidence goes with it. It's absolutely crippling.
That fear of making a mistake is the biggest barrier for so many English learners.
It is, and that's what we're tackling today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Leo.
And I'm Mia.
Welcome back to the English Blend, the podcast where we mix real-life conversation with practical English tips to help you speak naturally.
Today, we're challenging a huge language learning myth.
The myth that perfect grammar equals perfect speaking.
We're calling this episode Why Grammar Doesn't Make You Fluent.
It's a controversial title, but we promise it's going to be incredibly liberating.
We want to show you that focusing too much on the rules is actually slowing you down.
It's okay to relax about the commas, about the obscure articles.
Fluency is about communication, not perfection, remember?
Right, so let's redefine what we mean by fluency. Grab your notebook, grab your coffee, and let's dive in.
Let's start with that fundamental question, Leo. What do most people think fluency means?
They think it means being 100% accurate, Mia. They imagine a written essay, perfectly structured, spoken aloud.
Yes, they think every verb must agree, every preposition must be spot on, every sentence must be complex.
And they feel that if they use simple language, or if they make one single mistake, they fail.
That pressure is intense, and it stops people from even starting the conversation.
If you don't speak, you can't get better at speaking. It's a classic problem.
It is. It's what we call a vicious circle.
Ah, a great phrase. Let's explain that one quickly.
A vicious circle is when one bad situation leads to another bad situation, which then makes the first situation even worse.
In this case, the fear of grammar mistakes leads you to not speak enough.
Not speaking means you never practice the flow, so you lack fluency.
And lacking fluency makes your fear of making grammar mistakes even stronger. It just keeps going around.
We need to break out of that cycle today. We need a new definition.
So let's define fluency simply. For me, fluency is the ability to maintain a smooth flow of conversation.
Smooth flow. I like that. It's the ability to keep talking without huge pauses for self-correction.
The message gets across quickly and clearly.
It means the listener understands your message effortlessly. That's the goal.
Now, let's contrast that with accuracy. What is accuracy, Mia?
Accuracy is the structure. It's making sure every single grammatical rule is followed perfectly. Tenses, articles, plurals, the textbook stuff.
Both are important, but only one is the emergency brake on your speaking car.
And that's focusing too much on accuracy, right? It forces you to stop and check the rules.
We need to remember how we learned our first language. Did we start with grammar rules?
Absolutely not. We made a mess. We said, I runned fast, or Daddy goed to work.
We communicated successfully, even though our grammar was terrible.
The message was understood. Communication first, grammar rule book later.
We need to give ourselves permission to make those simple mistakes again in English.
We need to allow ourselves to be children again in this process. Focus on the message.
And what specifically stops people from communicating? It's what we call the internal editor.
Oh, the internal editor is the absolute worst. He's always correcting you.
That little voice pops up right when you are mid-sentence.
You start speaking and the editor screams, "Wait, is that the correct preposition for this specific idiom? Check the subjunctive mood."
And by the time you check the hypothetical rule, the conversation has moved 3 topics ahead.
The speaking opportunity is lost. This proves that focusing on grammar is too slow for real-time conversation.
Real conversation requires automaticity.
Let's explain automaticity. It means the process happens without conscious thought.
Like driving a car. You don't think about how hard to press the brake. You just do it. It's second nature.
Speaking fluently is the same. You don't think, I need an adverb here, and then I must follow it with the auxiliary verb.
You just know the phrase, and it comes out of your mouth automatically.
And how do we build automaticity? Not by memorizing conjugation tables.
By massive input and massive output. Listening and speaking a lot.
Let's use a simple example.
Give me one.
Imagine someone who has a master's degree in English literature. They can write perfect, complex essays.
Perfect grammar, perfect vocabulary, very accurate.
But then they go to a new city and try to ask for directions to the nearest train station.
They start trying to construct a passive voice sentence to ask the question politely.
They get lost in the complexity. Might I be permitted to inquire as to the location of the transportation infrastructure terminus?
Meanwhile, someone who learned English watching travel vlogs just says, "Excuse me, train station near here?"
The second person got the point across immediately. They were fluent in that real-world moment.
The grammar expert froze. Their accuracy blocked their ability to communicate functionally.
That's the core difference right there. We are aiming for functional English.
And the key to functional English is learning language in chunks.
This is a huge concept. What is a chunk?
A chunk is a group of words that native speakers always use together. It's one unit.
Instead of learning thank plus you plus very plus much and trying to put the structure together every time,
You learn the whole phrase, "Thank you very much," as a single piece.
it's like buying pre-assembled, ready-to-use sentences instead of building them from scratch every single time.
If you learn thousands of these chunks, your speaking speed increases dramatically.
Because you are pulling from a stored library of correct phrases, not constructing them rule by rule.
This bypasses the internal editor. The editor only checks structure. If the whole phrase is a structure, there's nothing to edit.
Exactly. Let's add a little cultural note here, too, about native speakers.
Please do. Learners often think we are grammar robots.
We're not. If you recorded a transcript of me and you having a casual conversation,
It would be full of sentence fragments, unfinished thoughts, and grammatical shortcuts.
we use incomplete sentences. We mix up conditional tenses without realizing it.
And guess what? We still understand each other perfectly because of context.
The context tells us the meaning, even if the grammar is messy.
So, stop holding yourself to a perfect standard that native speakers don't even meet in everyday life. That's a huge relief, right?
It is. You need to focus only on avoiding errors that completely confuse the listener.
Like confusing the pronunciation of beach and bitch. Those errors matter.
But if you forget the S on she likes, 99% of the time, the listener gets the message.
They understand you. Success.
So let's transition now into the practical steps. How do we actually make this shift in our brain?
How do we turn off the editor and turn on the flow?
We've got 5 key steps for moving from accuracy-focused study to fluency-focused practice.
I love 5 tips. Let's go with tip number 1. Put the grammar textbook down. We mean it. Put it away for the whole week.
Give it a vacation. Instead, flood your environment with English.
Listen constantly. Podcasts, YouTube, movies, interviews, even if you don't understand everything.
Why is listening so powerful for overcoming grammar anxiety?
Because your brain is a pattern recognition machine. When you hear correct structures repeated many, many times,
Your brain automatically absorbs the pattern without needing the specific rule explanation.
you internalize the correct sound and structure. It just starts to sound right.
For instance, you hear people saying, "If I had known, I would have told you," 100 times.
You don't need a table listing the third conditional rule. You just know that phrase is correct for expressing regret about the past.
You build your linguistic intuition. That's what fluency relies on.
So tip 1, listen more than you read rules. Focus on the overall flow and meaning. Don't pause every sentence to look up a new word. Just keep the input flowing.
Perfect. Tip number 2, learn in chunks and scripts.
back to the chunks because they're essential.
When you encounter a new situation, like asking for a favor or giving an opinion, don't translate words individually.
Learn the complete functional phrase, the chunk.
Instead of constructing the grammar for asking permission, just learn the chunk. Would you mind helping me with this?
If you want to strongly disagree, don't try to build a complex sentence. Just learn the chunk, I couldn't agree less.
Or, to express doubt, I'm not so sure about that. Learn those reactions as single units.
This is about building muscle memory for your mouth. It helps you react instantly.
It means you bypass the slow, analytical grammar part of your brain entirely. You just retrieve the stored unit and use it.
Your speaking gets faster immediately when you start using these chunks.
And the great thing is, if the chunk is correct, your grammar is automatically correct when you use it.
It's a shortcut to accuracy through fluency.
Tip number 3 is probably the most painful but effective one.
I love this one. It's a challenge.
When someone asks you a question, or when you feel the urge to speak,
You must force yourself to start speaking within 3 seconds.
don't pause for 4, 5, or 10 seconds while your editor wakes up. Just start talking, even if you stammer.
Why 3 seconds? That's the window before the internal editor starts interfering.
If you respond fast, even if you make a mistake, you have practiced spontaneous output.
Spontaneity is the essence of fluency. You kept the conversation moving forward.
If you take too long, the moment is lost. If you speak quickly, you win the fluency battle.
What if I say she go to the store because I rushed?
That's fine. The listener understands. You got the message across. You were fluent.
The quick response is proof that you are prioritizing communication over correctness.
That's the entire point. Focus on output, not perfection.
Let's move to tip number 4. This is essential for overcoming anxiety.
You must deliberately choose to be okay with mistakes. Think of mistakes as data points, not failures. They show you where you need gentle improvement later.
If you keep confusing for and since, that just means you are talking about duration often. That's great communication practice.
Stop striving for that A+ grade on every single sentence you speak.
Aim for A+ communication. Did they understand the feeling? Did they understand the information? If your simple, perhaps slightly flawed sentence successfully conveys complex information, you have won.
We need a mindset shift. If I am understood, I am fluent.
That is so freeing.
And finally, tip number 5, which helps with flow.
Fillers, the things students are often told not to use.
Yes, but native speakers use them constantly. They are a signal of conversational comfort.
We use words like well, I mean, like, or you know.
These words buy your brain precious time to structure the rest of your sentence without creating dead silence.
Dead silence kills fluency. The editor loves dead silence.
A short or well keeps the rhythm going and tells the listener, I'm still talking, just wait a second.
If you try to speak English without any natural flow words, you sound robotic and unnatural.
Embrace them. Use you know, right, and exactly to check in with the listener and make the conversation more collaborative.
That sounds much more like real conversation.
Exactly. So those are our 5 steps to prioritize flow over rules. Let's quickly address a question our listeners might have. Should I stop studying grammar entirely?
No, we are not saying grammar is useless. It's the skeleton of the language.
You need the structure eventually, especially for formal communication. But you should study grammar reactively, not proactively.
Explain reactive study again. It's a key concept.
You only look up a grammar rule after you have repeatedly made the same mistake in real conversation.
So you speak, you stumble over the same preposition 5 times, you notice the pattern,
And then you check the rule to solve that specific real-world communication problem.
This means the rule sticks because you have a contextual need for it.
It's the difference between reading a bicycle repair manual cover to cover.
And only looking up how to fix a puncture after you actually get a flat tire. The knowledge is useful immediately.
The fluency approach gets you riding the bike first.
That is such a fantastic analogy. Ride the bike first.
Leo, let's elaborate on the concept of learning in chunks, because it relates to massive input.
Absolutely. We talked about how it speeds things up.
But it also helps with difficult structural elements, like phrasal verbs.
Phrasal verbs are notorious for blocking fluency because they are hard to predict. Turn up, turn down, turn off. The meaning changes completely.
If you try to analyze the meaning of turn plus preposition grammatically, you freeze.
But if you learn the chunk, could you turn the music down as a single unit, meaning could you lower the volume?
Then you don't care about the grammar. You just know the meaning and the function.
You can deploy it instantly. That's pure automaticity at work.
This also applies to pronunciation. When you learn chunks, you learn the natural, connected speech.
You learn that native speakers don't say going to, they say gonna.
Or want to, they say wanna. These are fluency contractions that are vital for sounding natural.
If you insist on grammatically separating every single word, you will always sound slow.
And speaking of natural sound, let's revisit that idea of functional English versus academic English.
Functional English is the language of action and connection.
It's what you need to survive, to make friends, to participate in meetings.
It uses simpler structures, but it's deployed at high speed.
Academic English uses very high accuracy, very complex structures, but it requires internal editing time.
Our goal is to make the functional English automatic, so the grammar fades into the background.
If you're fluent functionally, the sophisticated grammar will layer on top naturally over time, driven by your listening input.
So the fluency is the structure of the house. You build the whole house first.
And the high-level grammar is the decoration, the fine details, the polished paint.
You can live in the house before the decorations are perfect, right?
Absolutely. You can communicate effectively long before your grammar is perfect.
Let's discuss how the 3-second rule, tip 3, can be practiced alone, because practice is everything.
Solo practice is vital. Try the shadowing technique.
That's where you listen to a short English clip, maybe 30 seconds, from a show or podcast.
And then you immediately try to repeat it or shadow it at the same speed and rhythm as the speaker.
This forces your mouth and brain to try to match the native speed.
You will make mistakes. Your pronunciation will be messy, but your focus is entirely on speed and flow.
It's a great exercise to build those new muscle memories.
Another solo practice, the rapid response drill.
Tell me the steps for that. I think it will help people embrace imperfection.
Set a timer for 60 seconds. Choose any random topic. My plans for the weekend, or my favorite animal.
And then you must talk for the full 60 seconds without stopping, no matter what.
If you get stuck on a word, you must pivot and use a simpler word. You cannot pause for more than 3 seconds.
This trains you to improvise, which is what real fluency is all about.
A fluent speaker knows how to use simple language to keep the flow going when they get stuck on a complex word.
A grammar-focused learner might stop completely trying to recall the exact complex vocabulary word.
Speed wins over perfection in this drill. Practice this every day for 5 minutes.
That's 5 minutes of guaranteed fluency practice, regardless of the quality of the grammar. Love it.
And one final point on anxiety. We need to normalize asking for clarification.
That's a key element of functional communication.
If the listener doesn't understand your slightly incorrect sentence, they will say, "Sorry, what did you mean?"
That's not a failure. That's just a new opportunity for you to rephrase and practice more English.
A fluent person knows how to handle a misunderstanding smoothly. They can use a chunk like, "Let me try saying that another way," or "What I meant was..."
Those phrases keep the conversation flowing instead of halting in embarrassment.
It shows confidence, even if you've made an error.
It shows that you are comfortable communicating, and that's the highest level of fluency. Okay, let's wrap up our educational section with 3 powerful phrases related to communication that you can start using today.
These are great additions to your chunk library.
Phrase number 1, to get your point across.
This is the perfect summary of our entire episode.
To get your point across means you successfully communicate your idea or message to the other person.
The focus is on the successful result, not the perfect grammar used to achieve it.
For example, I was a bit nervous and my English wasn't perfect, but I still got my point across about the project deadline.
Or, she spoke very simply, but she really got her point across to the audience.
It's a wonderfully useful phrase because it validates our philosophy. Was I understood? Yes, success.
Phrase number 2, which describes a common learning struggle, to hit a wall.
We all feel this sometimes, even in our native language.
When you hit a wall, it means you reach a point where your progress stops. You feel stuck and unable to continue.
It's a metaphor, right? Like you're running and suddenly you run into a big physical wall.
Example, I was improving so fast, but I feel like I've hit a wall now that I have to use more complex vocabulary.
We hope that shifting your focus to fluency helps you break through that wall.
It's important to recognize when you hit a wall so you can change your study method.
And phrase number 3, which is key to relaxing the internal editor, it's not the end of the world.
I use this phrase all the time. It's a great piece of advice.
When you say it's not the end of the world, you mean that the mistake or problem is minor and not catastrophic.
It's the perfect response when you make a grammar mistake or forget a word. Just shrug it off.
For example sentence, I used the wrong verb tense in the presentation, but it's not the end of the world. I'll learn from it.
It signals emotional fluency. It shows you know how to handle small errors naturally.
So practice those 3 chunks this week. Get your point across, hit a wall, and it's not the end of the world.
Use them, and you'll instantly sound more natural and comfortable.
That's the feeling we want all our listeners to achieve. Comfort, not correctness.
Comfort leads to speed, and speed leads to flow.
Flow is fluency. It's all connected.
And remember, every mistake is just proof that you are using English spontaneously.
Every time you make a mistake, you're learning something. You're getting better.
Don't let the fear of a small mistake derail your entire conversation.
Use the 3-second rule. Just push the sentence out.
You have all the tools you need. You have the knowledge. You just need the speed and the confidence to deploy it.
Think of language learning like lifting weights. You need to keep lifting consistently to build the muscle memory.
You wouldn't expect to lift 100 kilograms perfectly the first time. You build up slowly.
The same applies to fluency. Small, consistent efforts prioritizing speed over accuracy.
Daily 5-minute rapid response drills are better than 2 hours of grammar textbook reading once a week.
That consistency is what builds automaticity in the long run.
So start listening more, learning those functional chunks, and accepting your imperfect but rapidly improving English.
That's the way to break the vicious circle of grammar anxiety.
We hope this episode has given you permission to relax and enjoy the process of communication.
We certainly feel more relaxed talking about it.
This was a fantastic, liberating discussion, Leo.
It truly was. We covered a lot of ground today.
We define fluency as flow and accuracy as structure. We talked about turning off that pesky internal editor.
And we gave you 5 actionable steps. Prioritize listening, learn in chunks, use the 3-second rule, embrace good enough, and use natural fillers.
Your challenge this week is simple. Focus only on flow. Every time you speak English, ask yourself, did I get my point across?
If the answer is yes, you were fluent. Don't worry about the small errors because it's not the end of the world.
Let us know how the 3-second challenge goes for you. We love to hear about your breakthroughs.
Thank you so much for blending English with us today.
That was a great talk.
Yes, see you in the next episode of The English Blend.